Alrighty, welcome back for another episode of Two Plane Sports. Today, we're going to be previewing and making some predictions of Week 0 games. There's a couple games that are relevant to Oklahoma as far as the future opponents that we're going to be watching for, and what we're going to be looking for, and some trends and things. And overall, just generally happy to have football back. It feels like this offseason has been the longest offseason, but yet in some ways the shortest offseason. I don't know. It feels like a million years since all the turmoil in late November, early December with Oklahoma. So we're going to finally be able to turn the page and move on and start a fresh season. But before we get into it, just want to say we appreciate it. We're knocking the door of 5,000 subscribers. Help us get there before college football Saturday, before OU plays on September 3rd. Help us out. Hit the subscribe button. We're like 60 some people away. We're going to hit 5,000 hopefully in the next week or so. Help us out. I know over half of you aren't subscribed right now. So hit the button, turn the notification bell, like the video, stay around for Brandon's Indie Video Challenge, and be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, be sure to leave us a review and follow the channel there. And also, if you'd like to check out our monthly membership, be sure to do so. It helps us out a lot, and we put everything that we get back into the channel and help you guys out and give away tickets. In the Monday night live stream, we gave away a pair of tickets to one of our subscribers and someone that has been supporting us for a long time. We still have another pair of tickets to give away. So if you would like to enter in that, be sure to be subscribed. You have to like the video, also go on social media and follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. If you only have one, do that, and comment done in the YouTube comment, and then do Brandon's Indie Video Challenge. And we'll announce a winner probably Wednesday of next week to give you guys enough time to organize your travel plans and whatnot if you guys are from far out of town. So we'll just get into it now. Granted, there's some games that we have no idea. We're going to talk a little Nebraska. Obviously, Nebraska is going to be playing the biggest game this weekend, with Nebraska Northwestern playing in Dublin, Ireland, which I think is pretty cool. It kind of snuck up on me that the fact that they are playing in Dublin. It seems odd that Nebraska and Northwestern would be the college football teams over there, but I figure they probably are not trying to send their premier games over there, considering ticket sales and everything else, and how critical it is to the NCAA and all the ticket revenues and whatnot for each school. So Nebraska and Northwestern are perfect. There's been a lot of transfers into Nebraska. Scott Frost is on the hot seat. Nebraska's got a couple new quarterbacks that transferred in with Casey Thompson and Chubba Purdy. And Casey Thompson is the starting quarterback for them, and someone that is going to probably have to be running for his life. Brandon, I want to get your take on Casey Thompson and Nebraska and this game in general.
Okay, so I think the game is fun. I mean, it's a battle of 2 3-9 teams from last year. Nebraska was the better 3-9 team. Obviously, Nebraska also beat Northwestern like a drum in this game last year. So it's a revenge game. Jose was doing some research beforehand, and we found out that Northwestern just takes odd years off. So that should automatically make this a closer game, because it's an even numbered year. So we should have a close game. We were talking about it before as far as the quarterback play. I think Casey Thompson and Adrian Martinez are very similar players. I think they may have upgraded slightly with Casey Thompson versus Martinez, but it's not huge. But forget about the game. Nebraska's going to win, I think. But my theory is this. If I were Scott Frost, they should go over there and lose so bad that he gets fired. And then you stay in Dublin and you pull a Ted Lasso and you coach the other kind of football. Ted Lasso started to build a program there. I forgot the name of the team. Toes, you watch the show.
Isn't it Richmond?
What is his club called?
Isn't it Richmond?
Richmond, yes. That's what Scott Frost needs to do. He needs to lose so bad, get fired, stay in Ireland. Dublin's a way better place, I feel like, than Lincoln, Nebraska. Coach the other kind of football, build a program that way, because it's not working out in American football.
The difference between Scott Frost and Ted Lasso is that Ted Lasso was actually good at coaching, even in American football, as they would say in that show.
But he coached Wichita State.
I'm pretty sure he
won a national championship at Wichita State. Yes, truly remarkable. I agree with you on that.
Scott Frost has all the money in the world backing him and can't produce a winning season up there.
Well, maybe he can build the other kind of football.
I mean, that's possible. It's definitely. I mean, I guess never say never. Yeah, Nebraska. I think Nebraska. They definitely should win, even with how bad that offensive line was last year. They got a new coach. I'm sure many of you have seen the report that Scott Frost, or I guess what Scott Frost said. It's not a report, it's a quote from him saying that his offensive linemen are throwing up 5 to 6 times a practice because of the new O-line coach.
15 to 20.
Oh, 15 to 20. Sorry, I was out undershooting there. They're throwing up almost every quarter, it sounds like.
But it's also not because they're out of shape.
Yeah, which makes absolutely no sense. Maybe someone should feed those fat boys every once in a while. Casey Thompson is going to be running for his life. That guy, that poor human being. He went from, Texas. I think he had an okay season, not great, but he was also young. Going to Nebraska, I really don't understand why people are so excited about them, because it doesn't sound like they've really upgraded that major need in an offensive line. If those guys are throwing up so much, they're out of shape extremely, no matter what Scott Frost said. And then they also lost their 2 leading receivers, I believe, in a tight end and their wide receiver. They did return their running back, but he rushed for less yards than Adrian Martinez last year. Their defense was okay, but I'm not sure how much. I didn't see too much in like how much they're returning talent-wise. Other than that, the fact that they beat Northwestern by so much last year is what is the only reason that I'm going with Nebraska winning the game. If it were a close game last year, I would say Nebraska might be losing this year. Side note, though, doesn't PJ's brother go to Northwestern?
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll take the week off of high school just to go with his brother.
He should. And Nebraska did lose 2 receivers, as you mentioned, or 2 of their receiving targets, but you also didn't mention that DeColdis Crawford is there. I think he can fill in some shoes there just because his name is fantastic.
He did have a dope commercial. I'm sure everyone saw it. I was a fan.
Oh, yeah, old DeColdis Crawford. Casey Thompson, he battled, it seemed like last year he was definitely hurt. I know he had surgery for a torn ligament in his thumb. Scott Frost said that he wouldn't be surprised if both quarterbacks play, Chuba Purdy and Casey Thompson play this year, even though he's named Casey Thompson as the starting quarterback. I find that a little interesting that maybe he's not totally sold on Casey Thompson, or there's certain packages that Purdy plays. It seems really interesting.
Maybe he thinks that they're going to win a couple games by so much that they get to trot out Chuba Purdy. Seems like unrealistic given that they were 3-9 last year, but I guess
the best 3-9 team ever.
Yes,
ever. Yes. Did Chuba Purdy ever actually get an Oklahoma offer? Or, I know he visited. Was it just a visit, or was he actually offered? Do you guys remember? I don't remember.
I think he was offered. And because I think he was offered, and after he made the decision, that's when they went out and got General Booty. And they were also recruiting Gary Bohannon. And that didn't obviously ended up working out because he went to USF. But I believe Purdy was offered. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, overall, Scott Frost, he hired Mark Whipple, who coached Kenny Pickett as his offensive coordinator last year. So he's got some experience, obviously, with Pickett being a first-round quarterback last year. Casey Thompson could be that guy, but there's a reason why Adrian Martinez was, as limited as he was. He was running for his life, like Jose said. It's kind of a disaster. I know Scott Frost he's feeling the heat. That's why he went and hired another offensive coordinator, and he's no longer calling the plays, obviously. He went and hired a new offensive line coach, which I think the report or what he said of throwing up 15 to 20 times every practice is insane. That's a lie. There's no way these guys are throwing up 15 to 20 times a practice. And if they are, you got some serious issues. And, I was listening to another podcast and they brought this up. That's probably something you don't say on the record, because you could probably someone can sue you and probably, say that it was cruel and unusual and that type of thing. It probably isn't the best thing to be saying
Well,
if
Scott
it's
Frost thought
true.
it was the biggest flex of all time, apparently.
I'm all
It,
for a puke every once in a while in practice. Means
yeah,
you're working hard, but if it happens every single day, they're gonna be the probably the weakest offensive line in the entire country if that is the case.
yeah, it just seems weird. Like when you're trying to sell the media and the fans on the thought of your offensive line working really hard, there's probably going to be some issues. I don't know. You're setting the bar up way too high, or the expectations way too high. But yeah, Nebraska, they got a TCU transfer in Ochan Mathis. He's from TCU, and then they also got a transfer from Texas Tech and another one from Alabama along the defensive line. So they did bring in quite a few transfers. And I will say, they're going through their as many options and they're doing as much as they can. But I just feel like Nebraska will win this game. And I think Nebraska wins it soundly. I don't think it's even close
Is
because
it 13 right now? Is that the line?
I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah. I think, I think Nebraska takes care of Northwestern by 2 or more touchdowns. I think Scott Frost is going to try to make a point and a statement out of this because he knows his job is is in jeopardy this year, and he needs. And I know he needs to win this, game 0 or week 1 or week 0, whatever. He's got to beat North Dakota. He's got to beat Georgia Southern. He's got to go 3-0 into the Oklahoma game. If he loses any one of these games and then he gets stomped by Oklahoma, like I said a while ago, I could see him getting canned after the Oklahoma game if Oklahoma beats him by 35 points in Nebraska.
I would also hope that he's trying to wrap this game up relatively quick because they don't have an off week. Northwestern the week after gets to rest, so they can really go all out for this game and then adjust back to their time zone when they get back to the U.S. Nebraska does not have that luxury. They'll, like you said, they have three out of conference games before they get to, or they're three. They have an in-conference game in Dublin, and they're two out of conference games before getting to Oklahoma. If that first game in Dublin is anywhere near close, and where they have to keep their starters in all 4 quarters, they're going to be depleted for game 2.
Yeah. So I'm putting down all these betting picks so we can revisit them for the next episode. I'm actually picking Northwestern plus 13. I think they'll cover. I think they'll lose by 10 or so, but I think they cover that 13. Brum just picked a 2 or more touchdown drumming, so he's obviously Nebraska minus 13. Where are you going?
I'll go the same as Brum.
Okay.
Nebraska minus 13.
Yeah, Nebraska tries to make an example out of Northwestern, and Northwestern, they also ended up losing a lot on their side of the ball. I know we've been just talking Nebraska. Nebraska or Northwestern also lost Chris Bergen, who Chris Bergen had like 132 total tackles last year, and that was like the third most in all of college football last year. He was like a tackling machine. I think he had nearly like 20 tackles against Michigan or something ridiculous, but he's gone. So, that's the heart and soul of their defense. I think Nebraska is going to try to establish the run, and they probably will be able to. I just don't think Northwestern has enough talent and to really beat Nebraska. As much as I don't think Nebraska has a ton of talent, I just think Northwestern has that much less talent.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Brandon, I think I heard you say you took Northwestern.
I took Nebraska with the points.
You took Northwestern with the points?
Or, yeah, Northwestern. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Northwestern
right.
plus 13.
So we can move on. We're going to be talking the other related game before we start kind of going off on a tangent of just random games that's somewhat relevant to Oklahoma is North Texas and UTEP. So UTEP, I totally forgot about him, but UTEP had a wide receiver named Jacob Cowing. He entered into the transfer portal after last season. He put up like over 1,300 yards, had nearly 70 receptions, a big time transfer target that Oklahoma was exploring. ended up not working out. I don't even think he ever ended up taking a visit, but I know Oklahoma was exploring that option, and he is now at Arizona. So they lost their number one threat, I believe. Jose, did they lose? They lost another wide receiver as well.
Yes.
I
They
don't
lost
know
their
his name.
they lost their number 2 guy. I don't remember his name either,
Yeah,
but they lost both leading receivers.
both leading receivers are gone. UTEP has struggled to beat North Texas in recent years. I think I saw a trend that North Texas has beaten UTEP 12 out of the last 15 times. North Texas, they've got a great linebacking core from what I've read. The quarterback is returning. He didn't have a great season last year, but they do have some continuity there. And I think they're going to be able to run the ball. They've got a decent offensive line with North Texas. And I think the line's -1.5 for UNT. I think North Texas beats UTEP. I just don't think UTEP has enough as far as the offense goes. And I don't see that, that Oklahoma UTEP game, that's a game that's going to be over by the middle of the second quarter. And people are going to be leaving the stadium at that point because it's going to be 45-3.
So you're taking UNT -1.5.
Yes.
Yeah. So UTEP has an uphill battle here. Like you said, they lost their star receiver. They lost their number 2 receiver. The one good thing for them is there were the people that they're returning. They're returning their running back, their starting quarterback. They're bringing back both their leading tacklers, both linebackers, and Breon Hayward and Tyrese Knight. They're bringing back their leading sack getters with, I think his name is Praise Awule and Adrian Taylor. Jadrian Taylor. What a weird name. One of them had 5.5 sacks. The other one had 6.5 sacks. So, I mean, they're not terrible. Their offense is just going to really struggle. Like, I think it's going to be very low scoring. If I can take a bet that's not the point or not the spread, I would take the under, because I think it's at 50.5 at this moment. It just seems like they're going to be running the ball a lot. Then that clock, we're going to get past the first half so fast.
But you got to pick on the spread for the argument's sake for next week when we revisit this.
I'll take North Texas as well.
UNT -1.5. Okay, yeah. So this game obviously is the most fun one for all of us, for Oklahoma fans in general, because we do have UTEP coming to town week 1. So we get to kind of see what they're all about, how they're going to play, the guys that are going to pop off at us just from watching the game, stuff like that. So it's the most fun game to watch. And not only that, I think this game has the most potential to be the most competitive of the week 0 games, the one that could go down to the wire, the one that could be an overtime game, things of that nature. So I think this is the one, if you're going to watch any of them, this is probably the one to watch as far as you want a good football game. And plus you get to see OU's future opponent, although OU should, as Brum mentioned when he was talking about it, should beat the brakes off them. I agree with that. You guys both went UNT -1.5. I'm going to take UTEP with the points.
UTEP and the points, huh?
Yes,
so
sir.
I think this is something, as we're kind of going through, how it would be cool to be making these bets all fall. Obviously, Brandon, unfortunately, we won't be able to be getting your picks in quick enough for us to keep a tally on your betting lines when you're off at basic. But we can, maybe Jose and I will do this every week, and rather than pick the entire slate, maybe we pick like 5 or 6
just
games.
pick 5 or that's the way to do it,
and just keep a running tally all year long, and we can show you who's actually good at betting and who's not.
What Brandon can bet is which one of us will have a better season with our.
Yes, that's what I'll do.
Because he'll have a couple weeks to see how we're doing before he has to make a pick.
For sure. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, those are the 2 main games, at least of relevance to Oklahoma, that are going to be playing in week 0. Granted, week 0 is definitely week 0 for a reason. We're just happy that football's back. And at the end of the day, when it's been gone this long, beggars can't be choosers. And I'm going to watch a lot of these games, even if, they're really small schools and schools that I do not care about, but it's still college football and it's meaningful football. So we can kind of go through something, we're not going to go in depth on every team. Brandon brought up this idea before we got on, just pick the spread and pick the winner of every matchup that we've got. I think there's a total of
We got 7 more.
7 more.
There's
7
9
more.
week 0 games. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just go through. I'll start from the top. We've already done Nebraska, Northwestern. We've already done UNT and UTEP. So we'll go Wyoming, Illinois. Illinois right now, according to what I am reading, Illinois is an 11-point favorite. Jose, who do you have?
I will take Illinois.
Okay.
Brandon?
I'm also going to take Illinois.
I'm going to take Illinois as well. And I'm just thinking, I don't know a whole lot about, either one of these teams other than Brett Bielema. Bielema ball, he's going to come out and he's going to try to look extremely strong week 1. And also Wyoming lost CJ Colden, one of their starting corners. So
where'd he go?
Be good for him. I think he went to Oklahoma.
Did he?
They lost quite a bit of players this offseason.
Mm-hmm. So I think Illinois takes care of him. And I think also Bielema, kind of like Scott Frost, is kind of coaching for his job. So he's going to try to make a statement of
that guy has an Iowa Hawkeye tattoo, I'm pretty sure. Do you guys know that? Fun fact. I could be. He has a tattoo of some team, and I'm 99% sure it's Iowa. But I could be wrong. Or Arkansas. One of them. If you look it up, he's got a tattoo of one of those teams, and I'm pretty sure it's Iowa. But anyway, that's just an unrelated little fun fact.
I am currently trying to search that right now.
Fact checking it. Good call.
I'm curious because I have had no idea about the Brett Bielema tattoo. Anyway, while that's pulling up, I'll ask you, Brian, who are you going to take? Connecticut, Utah State, minus 27 points for Utah State.
God, that's unreal. It's 27.
Yeah.
He definitely does have an Iowa tattoo.
Yeah. I'm going to go UConn with plus 27 then. I mean, if you guys can't cover the spread on almost 4 touchdowns against Utah State, just quit playing college football. So I'm going to go UConn with the points. What do you have?
Same. That 27 is just too many points.
I'm going to tell you what, Utah State will beat them by more than 27 points because anything that I've learned from betting is when you think the point is there's too many points, that's when you get in trouble. And that's when the team actually covers.
So you have Utah State at minus 27. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, UConn's horrible. I mean, they're one of they're Kansas.
They can still go out there and lose 26-0 and we'd win.
You're right, but whenever it's 35-3, I win.
Maybe it'll be 35-10.
It could be. Anyway, so moving on, you got Charlotte North and Florida Atlantic. This one could be pretty competitive. The Charlotte 49ers are 7-point dogs, so Florida Atlantic is a 7-point favorite right now. Jose, what do you think?
I will go. Yeah, I'm going to pick Florida Atlantic just because I have a friend that went there. I don't know shit about those teams, so I'm just going to pick with my heart here.
Steve, what a guy. FAU minus 7. I'm also going to lock in at FAU minus 7. Yeah.
I tend to agree. FAU minus 7. Willie Taggart gets the dub. Okay, so Nevada, New Mexico State. Nevada's a 9-point favorite. Brandon?
Nevada.
Jose?
You said, hold on. You said Nevada's 9?
9-point favorite, yes, correct.
Okay.
I will take... No, just to be different. You said you took Nevada, right, Brandon? I'll take New Mexico.
I'm going to take New Mexico State plus 9. And as we're going through this, I never said in the beginning, but as people are watching this, comment who you have for sure. Let us know.
Even if you know nothing about the teams too, just go ahead and bet for fun.
Sometimes only knowing the schools and the colors is better than actually having any legitimate knowledge. So, that's true. That's sometimes how it works out. Moving on, Vanderbilt and Hawaii. Vandy is an 8-point favorite. Jose.
I will go with the Rainbow Warriors.
You're a big Hawaii guy after that honeymoon, weren't you?
Yes, and I feel like it's going to suck for those boys from Vanderbilt, because that time change is tough to deal with. When I was there, I was getting up at like 4 a.m. I can't imagine that they're going to be waking up any later than that. Like it later than 6 a.m. would surprise me. So they're going to be exhausted come game time.
So you got the Rainbow Warriors +8. I like it. Brum, what do you got?
Vandy -8. Vandy will go out there. They might already be there, or they're probably getting ready to leave. I would imagine they're going to be there for a few days for them to adjust to that time change. So Vandy -8.
I too am going to take Vandy -8. But why is Hawaii so bad? They're a team that I feel like shouldn't be bad because it should be easy to recruit to Hawaii because you play in Hawaii. I've heard nothing but great things about Hawaii. Hawaii should build a powerhouse, but they suck for whatever reason.
I think it's because their facilities are old and terrible.
And it's tough to make visits. I mean, unofficial visits aren't really easy to make. I mean, not many people can just drive for a weekend.
Can't you just trust that Hawaii is dope? Like, do you really need to see it?
It would be easier for Hawaii to be good if the kids that were from Hawaii stayed in Hawaii to play. I feel like most of them come to the mainland to play high school football.
And the reason why Hawaii is why most kids leave is because when you're playing at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern, pretty much the only people that are watching that game are probably gambling. And the general public is probably not going to be watching the Rainbow Warriors. And most people are trying to win all their money back that they lost. So, Hawaii.
People barely watch the Pac-12.
They got a couple players come out in recent memory. You got Devon Bess, who had a pretty successful NFL career for a little bit there, had a great career at Hawaii. Colt Brennan, RIP, had a fantastic career at Hawaii. Pretty sure he was drafted too. I don't think he had anything of an NFL career, but he was drafted, or at least signed as a UDFA. Sure, there's some players that I can't think of, but Colt Brennan and Devon Bess, I know for sure, had pretty damn good careers at Hawaii. They were ranked for a minute when they were there.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. I mean, Hawaii's put together some decent teams, and that's actually all we've got as far as I guess actually no, there's another one I'm missing. Aren't I missing Austin P in Western Kentucky as
the
well?
Game of the season.
Austin
versus Western Kentucky.
That one's pretty good, to be honest. I don't even have what the spread is on that game. Do one of you have this?
We'll just I don't know. We'll just
they might not even be offering the spread, to be honest.
Let's just pick a winner then.
I'm gonna guess the Hilltoppers. I mean, the Hilltoppers. It's at Western Kentucky. Granted, they did lose Zappi and their offensive coordinator, now the head coach of Texas Tech. I think they take care of it.
Hose?
Western Kentucky.
I am also going to go Western Kentucky because in high school, I used to go thrift shopping on Wahoo Wednesdays. You could just find the best deals of all time, these half-off shirts or whatever. And I found a Western Kentucky polo for about 50 cents, bought it. Used to wear it to school too and everything, but it was a women's polo. You just couldn't tell at the time because I was wrestling and I was a small dude and it fit perfect.
Your figure was perfect for it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Hilltoppers just because I guess I used to be a fan, one could say, because of my Wahoo Wednesday days.
Wahoo. Yeah. Another game that I see that I don't believe that they're really publishing spreads, at least what I've seen, is North Carolina, Florida A&M. I mean, we're digging deep here. I mean, UNC is going to run them out of the arena, but it is what it is. There's UNC by a million.
There's also the Duquesne Dukes versus Florida State.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Jeez. There's actually a lot of games. I mean, Florida State's going to run them out of the arena.
You'd hope so. That's why there's not a line. There's no reason for anyone to put money. Even Vegas doesn't want to take your money.
And then UNLV and Idaho State. I would imagine UNLV will take care of it. So,
okay, I'm not even going to put those games down on our little bet log then. No, if we're all going to unanimously pick there.
Yeah. Vegas doesn't want to take your money. We won't bet on it.
That's fair enough. I mean, Vegas always wants your money.
Vegas, but the problem is that Vegas offered some great, like a crazy line, and then all of a sudden, like, Idaho State beat UNLV, and some idiot put like $500 on Idaho State to win. They're going to pay a boatload of money to them. I don't know. So it could happen. Crazy things happen. There's reasons why you play the game, but it is what it is. So yeah. So those are our predictions. I'm curious to see how we do. Obviously, as you guys can tell, if you made it this far, we're digging for content. It's been a struggle over the last, for the next week or so. It's going to be tough until we can get into the season and get rolling. We'll be able to kind of get it going. As far as OU related stuff, some team notes. It seems like that Jaden Davis is part of the cornerback one situation. Him and Woody Washington seem to be the top two corners for the number ones. Do you guys have any thoughts on Jaden Davis making a resurgence right now and coming back up and proving everyone wrong, including myself?
Hopefully he balls. I mean, there's not much to add to that. I mean, he's clearly had a pretty damn good fall camp. He's impressed the coaches if he's running with the ones or appears to be the number one. I guess we'll see what happens on Saturday the 3rd, who they actually run out there on the field. But I mean, if he is number one, he's had a hell of a camp, and hopefully he balls out.
Jose?
What he said.
Yeah. I've got one question for you guys. Who are you most excited for to see play? For me, it's Justin Harrington. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be, and just all the hype, because we heard a bunch of hype when he transferred in a couple years ago. There's a bunch of hype around him now. I want to see how he's used. Is he used in the nickel? Is he a cheetah in the cheetah position? Is he, where does he play? Does he play safety? Does he play corner? I mean, where is he at? I'm really curious to see, and I'm excited to see how he does.
Are we talking about the team in general or just the defense?
Yeah,
and is it just for the UTEP game?
No. I'm just talking about in general, like of the entire football team for the entire season. Like, who are you most excited? And who are you most excited to see? I guess week one. To me, it's Justin Harrington.
I feel like it has to be Dylan Gabriel. Like we're gonna ride or die with Dylan Gabriel all season, and he's the new shiny quarterback, the fanciest toy on the team. I feel like it has to be Dylan Gabriel. So I'm going to go Dylan Gabriel.
Mine is Billy Bowman, because I was so high on him last year, and I really do think that the injury situation with the DBs was his downfall. Having to move around all over the field to try to make up for the losses was why he had a bad freshman year. Sounds like he has made a huge leap, and especially now that he's just being played at safety, I'm pumped for him. Hopefully he has like 5 picks this year.
Yeah. I mean, the way that he's been playing apparently during preseason and in the fall camp, it seems like he's got everything in front of him and he's playing really well. So I'm excited for Bowman as well. I mean, obviously I'm excited to see Dylan Gabriel, but I'm just more so I believe that in my mind, the offense is not even to be worried about, because I think they're going to score a ton of points. It's just like, can we see this defense the way it's going to look? Under Venables, we can actually have a true defense with more than like 3 plays. So that'll be fun to see. So do you guys have any final thoughts before Brandon rolls into his end of video challenge?
No. And this will be a 2-option, not a 2-part. Sometimes I do 2-part end of video challenge. That this will be a 2-option. So at the top of the show, I talked about Ted Lasso, which I think is one of the greatest series probably ever made. I love that series. So drop your favorite Ted Lasso character if you've seen the program. If you've not seen the program, first of all, watch the program. And so your individual challenge, if you haven't seen it, would be you can't pick Nebraska and Northwestern, and you can't pick UTEP UNT, because those are the games that I guess seem kind of fun. What is the best week 0 game outside of those two, and drop a winner?
Block of the week. So be sure to do the in a video challenge. Also, if you'd like to enter in for the free tickets that we're going to be giving away next Wednesday, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, depending on what you have. Subscribe to the channel, turn that notification bell, like the video, and comment that you've done that, and then do the end of video challenge, one of the 2 parts, or you can do both parts of Brandon's end of video challenge. If you made this far in general, just hit the subscribe button, like the video, turn the notification bell on, follow us on all our social medias, listen to us on Apple or Spotify, follow the channel, leave us a review. It helps us out a lot. And we will be catching you guys Friday.